All right, hey everybody. We are back for our next video. Glad to be here. We're actually sitting in, where are we sitting right now?
We are in Carvoeiro in the Algarve, in Portugal.
Southern Portugal.
Beautiful, sunny, warm Portugal.
So we spent about 3 weeks in Madrid. We wanted to recap how that went, and we also wanted to review it for you and break it down into a number of different categories. And we wanted to talk about how it worked out as far as location to work remotely, not to mention what the food scene was like, affordability, things to do. So we're going to break it down into several key categories, and then we'll rank each one 1 to 5, 5 being best. We're each going to do it individually to see if we agree or disagree. So the categories that we're going to use are
things to do, the food scene, getting around and walkability, the people, places to stay and neighborhoods, co-working, internet, and affordability.
So maybe we'll jump in and do things to do. Keep in mind, we were here for 3 weeks, and we actually told some of our early guides when they asked, hey, how long are you going to be in Madrid for? And we said 3 weeks, and they're like, really? They don't typically hear that answer. I guess Madrid is much more known for people who come in for a long weekend, for a few days, maybe a week at most. But in our case, we're traveling slowly. We're also working while we're traveling, so we want to have experiences, but we also have to have time to work as well. So definitely if you come to Madrid, you can pack in a lot in 3 to 4 days. But right now, that's not our current style of traveling. So it's about traveling slowly and really getting to know a place. And I think Madrid was really perfect for that. I think Madrid takes a little bit, let's just say, to grow on you. But when it does, there's really just so much to see. So some of the highlights.
The Royal Palace and Cathedral, those are the primary highlights, and the Prado Museum. The other thing we really loved is Retiro Park, which is an enormous city park where literally everybody goes and walks around every evening.
It's definitely easy in Madrid to get your 10,000 to 20,000 steps. You go out for your meals, grocery, some breaks from working. I think of Madrid is really just getting lost in the city, coming out of your Airbnb, going left, going right, and just seeing where the adventure takes you. I think one of the first things that we would suggest you do is do a free walking tour on your first day if possible. There's a company called Sandemans. It's Sandemans. And there's other companies like that. You can just go free walking tour in whatever city you're in Google and you'll find them. But they're really great ways to just get your bearings, ask a lot of questions because every city, every place you go is a little bit different. They'll give you lots of great recommendations as well. Typically, the tour guides are super passionate. They do an amazing job. And most of the time, these tours are free. So all you have to do is you just have to give them a nice tip at the end, and it's so worthwhile. The other things we do, we look a lot at Airbnb experiences. I know a lot of you maybe book on Airbnb, but just be aware that they have another section called experiences. And we found that these are more personal. And Viator is another one as well if you want to do maybe a bit more of the commercial tours. Those are two excellent sites to really find some tours and experiences. One of the ones that we did with Airbnb experiences was we did an architectural tour. What did you think about that?
I thought it was very cool. I love architecture in general, but it's really great to have somebody local, especially an architect who can actually walk you around, take you up to rooftops, walk you through certain building lobbies, and just explain the history and the style and how it all came together. So you don't see a lot of modern architecture in Madrid, at least not in the city center, but you see a lot of classical styles mixed.
There's some great day or half-day trips from Madrid. The two that we did, Toledo and we did Segovia. Both are really accessible, about 30 minutes if you take the train. We thought the best way to get to Toledo was the high-speed train, and you can buy tickets on a website called omio.com. It's omio.com. You can also
put it in the notes, right?
Yeah, we'll put it in the notes for sure down below. But you can also book directly, but that was just super simple. You just show your reservation on the phone. We went out of, I won't say this right. How do you say this? Atocha Stadium. You can either walk there or take the metro or taxi. So we just walked there, and we just walked from our neighborhood. We stayed in Malasaña. The thing to remember when you get to Toledo is the train leaves you about 20 minutes walk outside of the old town. It can't go into the old town. You can grab a taxi for a few euros, or you can just walk up, which I think is a great way to do it because it's a really cool approach. And we did a free walking tour there. Company was guruwalks.com. It was about 90 minutes. Our guide was awesome. We just tipped the guide at the end. And that was a really great way to make sure that we saw the highlights and then know what to do the rest of our day there. And then we did Segovia.
Segovia, it wasn't that convenient with the train, but there is a bus that goes there that turned out to be a super comfortable bus that took you right into the city center of Segovia.
For us, to get to the train that goes out to Segovia was a different station than Toledo. It was going to be like an hour and a half walk. So for us, the bus just made the most sense. And you're really dropped off right in the center. So that was the big advantage. If you take the train to Segovia, you have to wait for another bus, and that bus, and then it's a 15, 20 minutes by bus to get to the center. So personally, I would do it that way. What was the highlights of Segovia for you?
Segovia is cool for 3 reasons. It's got an amazing fortress. It's got an enormous, really beautiful Gothic cathedral. And then what my favorite thing was this 2,000-year-old Roman aqueduct. It's 10 miles long. It's 93 feet high, and it was built with 20,000 blocks of granite that are held in place by gravity, not mortar. And this brought water to Segovia for 2,000 years. It's astounding. It's beautiful, and it's just unlike anything I've ever seen.
Let me do the ratings first. I'm going to start with my ratings for things to do in Madrid as a city. I would give it a solid 4 stars. I mean, it's different. It's not like you're in Paris or London or maybe even Barcelona, where you have this long list of tourist hotspots. It's more about the vibe, the experience, the lifestyle. And so for me, it was really solid. I had a great time overall. How about you?
I would give it a 3.5. Just when you mentioned Paris and you realize just how much there is to see there. Comparably, it's not going to be like a Paris, but it's got a lot of really awesome things, and the lifestyle there was very enjoyable.
Let's jump into food. So we spent a lot of time. So we had a lot of opportunities to eat our way through Madrid, but it's impossible. There's so many restaurants of every type of cuisine, not just Spanish, not just tapas, really truly international cuisine, from your hole-in-the-wall place to your Michelin star restaurant. You can have it all. Now, there are some lifestyle things you need to be aware of. In Madrid, they like to do the first breakfast, the second breakfast, the 3-course lunch, the tapas, the late dinner. That was a little overwhelming for us at first. We thought we were going to have to pretty much hit all those and do that in a day. You get to the point where you're not going to do all that in a day. So they may have this big lunch and then just some light tapas, and they're done. They're not going to have the late dinner necessarily that night. Maybe on the weekend, sure. We were able to really shift our day around. Certainly our schedule was different. I would agree, wouldn't you agree, from Austin? We definitely started later in the morning. We ate a little bit later. Our lunch, instead of in Austin, I don't know, we were typically by 11:30. Early was 1 o'clock in Madrid. And we didn't eat a lot of dinners late. We ate some. But if we just didn't want to do the late dinner, we would just, go get some tapas or pick something up from a store. And that worked out great. There was one thing, though, that we had to eat there. And Monica, what was that one thing?
When in Spain, right? That would be churros and chocolate.
Yeah, so churros and chocolate, we definitely did the research for all of you. We went multiple times. Pretty delicious overall. A good quality breakfast, lunch, or dinner. What was interesting about it is the churros are not like your Mexican-style churros that we're used to, which are doused in sugar and filled with something, which nothing wrong with that. Yeah, and cinnamon. Yeah. Love it. That's great. But these are actually not very sweet at all. It's the chocolate that you get the sweetness from. It's you basically get a mug. You just think of a mug of thick melted chocolate that you dip your churros into. So pretty delicious. We went to several different places. The famous place was called
San Ginés.
Yeah, and that's the OG. That's the original. It's grown to be it's an institution.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's massive and it's growing. You can tell.
Yeah, they've taken over like the entire block there. Basically, keep opening new ones.
Yeah.
Another one that we went to on a food tour was
Chocolat.
And then the last one I think we tried was
Chocolateria Valor.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite for me still had to be maybe San
Ginés.
Yeah, that was definitely the best one, I think, for me overall. We had a lot of great restaurants that we went to. Favorite restaurants, one was a tapas place called the Mini Bar. We went a couple times. We went with a group of people after our free walking tour that we met. That was really a fun experience. We just all walked over and had tapas there. We went again another time. Another restaurant we went to for a really nice lunch was, what was the name of this one?
Macareno.
Yeah. And then we went for a really cool dinner at a restaurant called, I can't say it, so Monica's got to do it.
Sala de Despiece.
As you can see, I defer every time when there's like a foreign language to be said because I am highly language challenged. We did an amazing cooking class that I would highly recommend if that's of any interest to you. It was a company called the Cooking Clubhouse. You can book it on Airbnb Experiences or directly with them. It was more than just a cooking class. It was in the evening. It was a dinner party. But you're cooking along with everybody else in a very social setting. Everybody's talking, drinking, cooking. The setup's amazing.
Yeah, well, there were 20 of us, first of all. It was this huge group, and they had this huge setup with lots of different workstations. It's all pre-prepped for you, so you're doing a little of the prep and a little of the cooking. You're also drinking and talking to people that you've never met before. But it was a great experience, and then afterwards you all go downstairs into this massive dining area, and you have some of the things that you prepared, plus the chef there has prepared an entree and a dessert for you. And you get wine pairings as well, so The alcohol was free flowing and it was a great experience.
Yeah, 5 stars for sure. Madrid's also got these amazing food halls and food markets. There's the famous one, which is Mercado San Miguel, which is an incredible food hall. You just walk around, you just point at what you want. Fairly reasonably priced, a little bit higher than some of the other food halls, but the food quality was amazing. Monica's written a really great post over at our blog, so be sure to go there. What's the URL?
digitalromads.com.
That's our subtle plug. Oh, speaking of plugs, make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you don't mind. We'd really appreciate that. If you have any comments down below, go ahead and leave those, of course. And what were some of the other markets, too, that we really enjoyed?
So Mercado Anton Martin was one that we went to a few times. Mercado Ildefonso is smaller, but it was a really good place for lunch. And then Mercado La Cebada. They have a lot of different of these markets all around town. They have a huge diversity of different things.
Another thing we did that really worked out great is we went to, there's an El Corte Inglés, the big department store here, like on every corner. You want everywhere, but they're huge, but they have really nice prepared foods, usually downstairs. If there's a supermarket there. So several times we went there and just put together a nice meal with pastas, veggies, a protein, some fresh bread. Always well under 20 euros for both of us. I remember one that we went one night, it was like 12 euros. We just went home, we had an Airbnb, and we just heated up a couple things and had this great dinner. If you want things delivered, there's an app called Glovo. They're around throughout Europe, Glovo. So we saw them everywhere. We went to one Michelin star restaurant. It was Smoked Room Madrid. Pretty incredible omakase experience. So just a tasting menu. It was pretty memorable. It's also on the website at digitalromads.com. Some pictures, the experience. But we had some great pizza. We had amazing ramen. We had American-style burgers. You can pretty much have everything in Madrid, and a really great taco scene in Madrid. And we're from Austin, so we're in the headquarters of tacos, we think. But honestly, we had some pretty amazing tacos. 2 favorite places we went to was Tiki Taco, and the other one was called Tacos, spelled Takos. You'll stand online for a while at both if you don't get there early. Even if you get there early at Tacos, you're standing online for 30 minutes. But honestly, we had 4 tacos each, a couple drinks, each time under 15 euros, which for us, again, comparing to back home, when we're in Austin, maybe eating at Torchy's Tacos or Tacos Veracruz or Taco Deli, it's great, but it's $30 to $35 every time for some tacos and a couple drinks. We found that experience a lot. And even when we did a sit-down restaurant, really nice sit-down restaurant with 2 entrees, an appetizer, a couple drinks, 50, 60 euros. And remember, it's not a tipping culture, so you may leave a few euros. At home in Austin, we're leaving 20%. At home in Austin, we got to pay tax on top of the food. So for us to have a nice dinner out, 100 to 150 in Austin, pretty common. Maybe it was about half as much. Beer and wine, way less overall. A cocktail now in Austin is $18. Typically here we see 9 to 12 at most. Beer and wine, 2 euros to 5 euros, pretty much.
That's the big difference there to wine at home. Even a glass of wine is like $15, $16 sometimes. Here it's $4. Maybe.
So overall, for me, easy, I would say food scene here, 4.5 out of 5. What about you? What did you think?
I think the food here was amazing. I would give it a 4 just because I feel like we didn't get that many vegetables. And maybe it's what we were ordering. I feel like it's hard when you have churros and croquetas and all kinds of other great tapas. And we did try to fit in salads where we could, but it was just a little harder here to find vegetables.
Yeah, we made more of an effort.
Should have tried harder.
I feel a lot of times there wasn't a lot of options. We would go to the grocery store a lot and make a salad with dinners that we were bringing home. We forced the issue. So yeah, it was a little bit more challenging in that area. I would definitely give you that. One thing that's funny is that when we were doing this, you were like, I score everything so high, but every single time you've actually scored less than me. You surprised me.
I'm trying to be critical.
Okay, very critical.
I'm a 5-star person. I think everything's great.
No, that's good. It's great. Okay, so let's talk about next, location and getting around. So we stayed in Gran Via. It's a big shopping street. It was busy. On the weekends, it was crazy. So you definitely need to like energy. The good news for us, the Airbnb that we were at, we were a block or 2 off of it. So it was quiet. We'd walk out and it could be a little hectic in about a block or 2. But we enjoyed that. We like plunging right into the energy. We had restaurants, multiple grocery stores. Public transportation was super close at our doorstep. So for me, where we stayed in Malasaña, and there's multiple other places you can stay in Madrid. Some people might not like this area because it's busy, but I would give it a 5 out of 5.
I would also give it a 5 out of 5. And here's why. Because I think in Madrid, it proved to me to be eminently walkable. Even though Madrid is surrounded by mountains, it's actually very flat. Everything's centralized, so you never have to walk too far to get to where you're going, especially in the city center.
Let's move on to people. I hate having to judge people, give them a score, but it is part of the experience, right? In travel, we've had, in traveling around the world, spectacular experiences with people. And by and large, really, anywhere we go, people are pretty awesome. But there were a few surprises for me. So there was just not a lot of English being spoken here in Madrid, a lot less than I expected. Like when we go to Portugal, it's super easy. Look, if you want to practice your Portuguese, it's almost impossible in Portugal. If you want to practice your Spanish in Spain, you absolutely can. Thankfully, Monica is really great at languages. She bailed us out multiple times.
I wouldn't say I bailed us out, but I did try to throw down some of my old high school Spanish skills. I feel like if you try some Spanish, they answer you in Spanish, and I love that.
Yeah, that was nice. I think you just got to learn a few basics. I always make sure, even though I can't really learn a language very well, I get the greetings down. I absolutely know how to say thank you, and I say it a lot. Where are the bathrooms? Things like that, the essentials. It goes a long way. So really, it's more my problem. As for friendliness, I don't know. This was an area to me where it was mixed. People in Madrid, I didn't find them rude or unhelpful. We encountered lots of pretty nice people. But I just never felt like it was like that warm, really welcoming experience. We're in Portugal right now. It's just a different, some of the, just the day-to-day encounters, it was just a little bit more to the point. It was not a highlight for me here. It would never keep me from not coming back, by the way. It was totally fine. Things were efficient. For me, with that being said, that's why I would give it like a 2 out of 5 overall. I know that might sound a little harsh. It's just I have to compare it with all the other places that we've been. What do you think?
I would give it a 3. And I would give it a 3 because it's a capital city and they're just busy. And it's like being in New York. You're not going to have those warm, friendly encounters. People are just doing their thing.
Places to stay, we'll move on. And neighborhoods, we stayed, like we mentioned, the Malasaña district in an Airbnb. 1 bedroom, equipped nicely, amazing Wi-Fi, so that was great. There are some other really good areas that you can stay in.
La Latina, Lavapiés, or some of the other neighborhoods that are in the same central area. Plenty of high-quality Airbnbs and hotels all over, so we found pricing to be very fair and affordable, along with countless options.
What would you rate it overall?
Oh, I would give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, same. I think you have great options here, lots of great places, really well-done Airbnbs. Pretty affordable, so I think you're no shortage of places to stay here. Co-working, remote working. But look, we just didn't see it very much. I don't think it's really ingrained in the culture here. Maybe people from Madrid would disagree, but I just didn't see laptops on in cafes. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. It's nice, but it just wasn't a thing. You just wouldn't walk by like coffee shops and see people like you do back home. I didn't see a lot of advertising for co-working spaces. It just didn't fully feel like a digital nomad hub. So I think for that reason, just our personal experience, I'd give it a 2 out of 5, but maybe I just didn't know what's available. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Internet-wise, the good news is, of course, it depends upon where you stay, but we had amazing internet at our Airbnb, never had problems. We had our cell phones. We used digital eSIMs. We use a company called Airolo, A-I-R-O-L-O. And so basically just download the app, put it on your iPhone or your Android, and you can use the digital eSIM on your phone. Pretty great packages just for data, texting, etc. So that's been fantastic. We've had high-speed data everywhere with 10 gigs of data for 30 days. We're spending like $30 overall. As you land, it activates, and you've got data. You don't have to go hunt down a Vodafone store or anything like that. So I think it's well worth doing that. I give it a 5 out of 5 just because our experience was super positive. What do you think?
I agree.
Probably one of the biggest, most important categories, I think, for anybody is affordability. And it comes down to a combination of multiple things, right? Where you stay, how you get around, things to do, your food costs. When we compare it to a bigger city in the US, I think it is at this point, Austin, I felt like it was about half what we were spending day to day on average compared to Austin overall. So that's significant. I thought it was going to be 25 to 50%. And yeah, there were some things that were comparable, but there was a lot of things that were surprisingly half overall. So for me, I would give affordability a 4 out of 5. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 5 out of 5 is there are other digital nomad spots where you could probably be half as much as what Madrid costs. What do you think?
Yeah, that's probably true.
So overall, this was a fantastic trip. I would absolutely come back to Madrid. We decided to start here. We're on this 1-year adventure going romantically. So we thought maybe it'd be a great place to start. Let's get our bearings, 3 weeks. But it was a place we had never been before. So it was a risk as far as that goes. But I was sad to leave. I was looking forward to show up in Portugal. But we were really getting into a good rhythm. I would absolutely come back. I recommend it.
I agree. I didn't know what to expect. I really wasn't sure if Madrid would be our thing because we like the coastal cities so much. But Madrid was a pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed it there. It's a great lifestyle.
Yeah, totally agree. So that's what we got on Madrid. I hope that was helpful for all of you. If you can give the video a thumbs up, would be awesome. you hit the subscribe button, we'd appreciate it. Obviously, this channel is just getting going, so one view probably doubles our views. One thumbs up maybe triples it. So we would appreciate all that. That would be awesome. If you have any questions or comments or you disagree, you can always leave a comment down below. So we will be back with another video soon. Take care, everybody.